Hello, everybody. How are you doing, Bruno? How are you doing today?
Morning, Stefan. Very good, thank you. I mean, it's happy and excited to be here to close the year with this, let's say, last Technology Saturday morning, and very happy to be here with you again after so many weeks being absent.
Very good. But you had a very good reason, Bruno. Congratulations again to your new job. I think it's very exciting, and I think it's also awesome to have you here. I'm really appreciate it. This has been an initiative that you started together with me. So to close the year like this is a big honor. This will be a great session. I know we're going to have many people viewing this live, both on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. And I also want to encourage everybody to comment and ask questions, because that's what it's all about. Sharing, asking mindsets and questions. That's the best thing we can do.
Absolutely.
So first of all, for sure, this is now the 22nd sessions, and we have been going through many technologies, and specifically, of course, Industry 4.0 technologies and advanced manufacturing technologies. For you, in this year, to maybe a little bit to look back, right? A very transformational year for sure. A year where many things changed in our personal lives, in our professional lives, in the industry itself. In your opinion, what technology made the biggest adoption progress this year in the manufacturing industry?
In the manufacturing industry, I think everything related with industrial Internet of Things was broadly adopted, and I think that it helped to set the foundations for future growths and for future applications. So for me, the adoption of IIoT has been the technology that really was a game changer this year.
Totally agree. So putting sensors on machines, right? Connecting machines, interconnectivity, of course, starting to create the first dash panels with people not being able to be in the plants, right? And having to be remote. We had the need to be able to look at real life data all the time. And this is for sure something that only works with connectivity. So in a percentage, let's say if we look at a percentage, and I know that there needs to be some data out there. Like if we look at 2018, 19, and then 20, now what was the increase that you saw of the adoption in this specific?
Well, I'm not pretty sure that I have the right figure in mind, but in the plants I've visited, in the plants I've had the pleasure to work with, in our current plants, now that I'm working for a manufacturing company, we've seen an increase of about 50% or over in the adoption of IIoT. And let me make a parenthesis here, because maybe people can think that IIoT is just an IoT platform. And for me, it's a complex ecosystem it's composed of many different technologies, starting from the sensors, the ground to be connected to the things, then linking that through communication protocols to the platform, to the IoT platform, bringing those data to the cloud, protecting those data with cybersecurity, with OT cybersecurity tools, enabling communication on fast transfer of big amount of data through different networks. And I think 5G will play a role, not today, but in a close future. And finally, using those data to explode information and to give transparency to the operation, as well as allowing to put on top some machine learning tools that can really help work with those data. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about IIoT. That's it, the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, and thanks for the explanation, right? It goes a little bit further than not only connecting and sensor, it goes a little bit further than that. But you also already mentioned the next step, right? We not only do that to see real life or real-time data, right? There is a need for it. And that's what I think is really interesting, that in your new role, where did you start to look, right? Did you look at the income statement? Did you look at the plant itself? Did you look for specific problems to solve? How did you approach let's say, at least the first year and a half of the roadmap?
Well, in fact, you said it. We tackled some opportunities that were, stones in our shoes that we thought we could solve with this kind of technologies. But what it's important to mention is that we started by doing things, maybe with a little bit not so structured approach, but we've been working hard this year in building or start building the transformational roadmap to put all pieces in their places. So let's say 1.5 years ago, when I was a consultant for my current company, we started more or less planning, but mainly doing. And we did some spot projects to tackle some opportunities, right? Now we're introducing a concept that's very, very important for us. That's the factory of the future approach. That we take the, let's say, the evolution path that, for example, Acatech it's showing in the 4.0 initiative, and we try to do two things. One is to understand what technology stack supports each of those evolutionary steps. Okay, and we create a protocol, a standard that defines exactly what means to have a transparent plant, or a predictive plant, or a proactive plant, or a connected plant, right? So apart from that, we stick the use cases to those evolutionary stages. So what can I expect if I'm a plant manager when I have a transparent plant? What output, what business outputs can I get? For example, I can have the OEE in real time. I can have electronic add-ons to trigger some maintenance signals, and which use cases go with each of these evolutionary stages. So we have moved from a, let's say, quite a disordered approach, focusing on the burning platforms that we had, to a more structured approach in which we try to put all the use cases that we have developed so far and understand which ones are we missing in order to eventually be considered as a lighthouse plant in terms of full 4.0 implementation roadmap.
That's awesome. It's really good idea. Like we talked about low-hanging fruits, right? And the quick wins that the team needs, because ultimately you have a new team, you have a new culture. You need to take advantage of that initial momentum, and you only can do that if you have the quick wins. And with the quick wins, you also get some additional funding for sure, because now you can show a return on an initial investment. Maybe it wasn't even that big, but now you have some economic resources that you can actually work with. And I really love the enabling underlying enabling technologies for the next step, and underlying enabling technologies next step. That's really an awesome idea.
That's how it will be. But we've started with low-hanging fruits in current problems, but we realized that we were doing very deeply skilled, highly technical projects made for engineers and by engineers. I mean, we could very easily develop an algorithm to understand the variation in diameter of a certain cable, for example, that was going to be used by maintenance engineers, but not for the real people that are operating the plant. So we stepped back we took one step back and said, okay, we need to democratize this knowledge and these technologies and make them available for the whole plant. We need to bring down to the shop floor the technology and made it be used by the operators. And when we did that, we saw humongous amounts of improvements everywhere. I mean, for example, in one injection molding machine that we have, we started very, very low with OEEs around 30%. And we expected that with sensorizing and digitizing and taking the basic data out of the machine, we could increase to 60%. Once we did that and make the machine operation visible to the operators, OEE increased to 78%. So over our wildest dreams. So when you make them the things visible and they can understand what they're doing in real time, I mean, productivity skyrockets, really. And we have learned that maybe it's worth to not be so technical, but bring it to the most operational level in order to take the most profit out of it.
Very good idea. Very interesting, for sure. And now, still one last question, reflection on 2020. What was your biggest discovery, right? And I'm sure there were very personal discoveries, but let's say technology-wise, right? And I know that you even did a very interesting training with, of course, a very important university in the US. But what was your biggest discovery this year?
Well, it's a very personal question. I'm going to address it, but I have discovered many things this year, both from the personal as well as from the professional side. From the personal side, I think I realized that I can do whatever I want. I mean, when you're working in a let's say chain and your day-to-day works absorbs you to the maximum, you don't realize how much and how many different things can you do apart from that. So this time, this year, as we had some, let's say, a bunch more of spare time, I have learned that I can do whatever I want. I mean, I can go to MIT to do an artificial intelligence course. I can change my job. I can learn to ride a mountain bike and to jump like if I was a teenager. I mean, I have the power to do whatever I want. Okay. From the technical side, I have learned many things. I mean, I have seen things in practice. I have been able to experience with many different technologies and with many different approaches. I have had time to think and to plan and to structure and to architecture what I want to do in a company to transform it digitally. So for me, it has been a very, very, very enriching year from many sides. I mean, for certain, it has some very important drawbacks, and it has had some tough moments. But even from you said it before when we were not online, you can learn many things from a crisis, and you can get many things out of a crisis. So this is a time that I would really and deeply recommend that everybody stops, thinks, and then acts and challenges his current status or her current status and her status quo and say, am I happy with this? Can I move forward? Can I learn something new? Because you have now the time. I mean, it's forced, but you have now the chance, the time, and if you want, you can do it. That's my first and main learning for this year.
Beautiful, and I really.
What about you? What was your biggest discovery this year?
We're really aligned here. I do believe that we have been given the time to learn this year, to rediscover ourselves. I do need to say that we are in a very privileged position, right? And you said it before, right? So you have been working very hard for 30 years, right? To be in the position that you're today, to be able to do certain things, right? But I also think that most people are very much in the box, right? And actually can do additional stuff, even if they are maybe at the beginning of their career or in the median of their career, or even already north of 50 or 60, because there is still a long way to go, right? There is still 30, 40, 50 years, and medical is getting better and better. And I think there is going to be bigger longevity. So I totally agree, and I'm deeply grateful. I'm much more grateful this year because I do believe that I'm in a very very good position, or very happy, lucky position to be able to do many things that we did. And of course, for me, the biggest discovery was for sure that the time with the family on a personal stage, right? We definitely spend too much time on airplanes, and that's, I think, the same for you. So I still miss flying and traveling a lot. I miss it a lot. You can imagine how much I miss it. Be able to fly over the skyline from Chicago, which is beautiful when you come from the lakeside, or to even go into Houston to see this huge infrastructure and how it all moves, and how these small wheels engage to this big machine that flies in and out millions of people per week. So I do miss travel a lot, but I also have discovered that that time with my family, time alone, is the most precious thing. I did discover that health is the only thing that really matters in life, and I'm very grateful for the people in the medical sector, right? Nurses, doctors, everybody that works in the sector and has given their hearts this year to try to help us, right?
Yeah, cheers to them.
And on the professional side, I really need to say that ultimately technology innovation is a lot of mindset thing, right? We need to be very open-minded. We need to continue to improve. We as leaders, we need to really engage with the technologies, learn much of the technology ourselves, to be able to coach the team, to direct and prioritize correctly in our companies. So it's not that we can have like a small team of people that knows and does all the stuff that doesn't work. We need to do most of the stuff ourselves. And I did very deeply dive this year into the whole investing and finance world curiously, right? Because I was hearing about the money printing, and I was hearing about the balance sheet of the federal banks and about stimulus checks, right? 5 years ago, never anybody would have thought that this exists, right? That everybody in the US gets a check for $1,200. So I was really interested in how does this work and how will this impact the future. So I was really thinking about this whole financial part as well, both personally and the company, and of course investing strategies. So that was really interesting this year as well. So I think from a discovery standpoint, lots of things that I definitely did this year, and from a health standpoint, well, it's incredible to see when you lose 10 kilos, when you lose 12 kilos, when you do sports every day, how much your energy changes, how much your mindset changes, how much your spirit changes. So I, as you said, encourage everybody just to do it, and don't listen to the critics, right? And really, I haven't had really any critics this year, so it has been really a crazy ride.
Yeah. You said one thing, that is, you have to be open to new things. And lately, I've been reading a white paper from some big consulting firm regarding what it takes to be a good transformational leader. And the first thing they appointed was to be what they call a neomaniac, a person that's constantly looking out of the box and for eager to understand and to learn new things, that technology puts him or her in a very different mood, that makes the curiosity, the permanent curiosity of state of mind. It's critical to be open, to be really prone to accept new ideas, new challenges, ready to understand new technologies. That's what makes a good transformational leader. And I think this year we have had the time to become one, because we had the bandwidth that, combined with our natural tendency and curiosity, made it the big difference.
Made everything possible, for sure. Awesome, thank you for this reflection. So now let's look a little bit into the future, right? And you're I'm not a futurist, and I know that you have much more vision of the next 3 to 5 years. So let's bring a little bit. Yeah, it's the glasses for sure. So let's bring a little bit vision into the next 3 to 5 years. So let's say 1 to 3 years, because we have seen that in 5 years so much can change. So let's go 1 to 3 years. Let's go 21 to 23.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, I have one question myself, and then there's one question for Manuel Lopez. So there, compared to the industry average, and we know that automation is going to have an adoption rate, which has been constant over the last 10 to 15 years, of between 7 and 8% annual growth of automation, right? So on top of this annual growth, out of the different technologies, and I will put them in here, right? Out of this framework, what technology will outperform the average this year?
Wow, it's a very difficult question, but I think that every technology that makes us resilient to the unexpected future will clearly outperform the rest. I mean, for example, robotics. Robots that can allow to operate black factory will definitely become more present and will outperform the rest of technologies, as well as everything that can be used to keep us safe at home but productive. For example, augmented reality or virtual reality, because we can use the time we are at home to train ourselves in a virtual environment and without going physically to the plant. That will clearly boom also. What are the things? Anything that enables remote work or remote relationship with your clients or customers. I mean, all the B2B and B2C platforms, apps, omnichannel technologies that connects clients with your offerings in a non or in a touchless mode will definitely boom. I mean, everything that enables you to work remotely, anything that makes you more resilient, regardless the external environment, anything that closes the gap and brings closer your clients with your products in a touchless, seamless, and effortless way, definitely will become the new normal for the future. And I expect that it will clearly boom. They will clearly boom in the close future.
Very interesting, and that's true, right? Usually, and you have now, of course, over the last weeks and months, been looking for specific technology, right? And I'm sure when you approach the supplier, you already know everything about the supplier, right? You know even like the product, the number of the product that you want to buy, right?
Yeah.
And I think the big difference in 3 years ago, you would be in your office and suppliers would come in and show, right? Physically bringing a bag of sensors or whatever, right, or cameras to your office to show it to you, and this has been completely inverted, right? Right now we Google, I need a contrast sensor, right? Black, white, whatever pictures. I want to detect this specific feature. And then you have a list of 8 suppliers, and then you maybe even have a recommendation. You look at or listen to a technical podcast, and then you choose 3, and then you write them. You ask them for a specific number. You look at cost value, and then take a decision, right? So this is definitely very interesting what you say. So platforms, B2B platforms, customer relationship management platforms, very interesting. And this is basically cloud, right? Because ultimately, what you say, it brings you more resilience as well as a company. You're not tied to salespeople being on the ground, being in the factories. You can basically multiply the user experience and also make it personal, right? Or even specific. So very interesting.
And considering what you've said, in order to, it's okay that you make contact with your client in a seamless and effortless way, but behind that, you have to have a very strong logistic network. I mean, the explosion of logistics behind e-commerce and behind a remote and touchless world is going to be huge. I mean, I'm foreseeing big moves in terms of last mile delivery improvement with autonomous delivery cars and technology for sorting and to make warehouses or distribution centers more profitable and more productive, because everything is going to be moved from one point to the other. Let's say, before we went to the mall to buy something, and you moved and you went there, but the logistics were from one to one, from one distribution center to one mall. Now it's from one distribution center to 1,000 or 1,000,000 private homes. So this is going to boom, and this is going to require different approaches in order to make logistics more efficient and more friendly too with the environment. So I think logistics and technology related to logistics will be another huge development areas in the years to come.
Very interesting, yeah, for sure. So So if we look at this, is very much focused on, let's say, personal logistics, right? Consumer goods, stuff that we need at home, even like the supermarket goods, right? We get delivered now. But in the industry itself, right? In the industry itself, logistics always has been huge. How is the industry logistics going to be disrupted?
Yeah, I think when we start sensorizing trucks and enabling dynamic route optimization, for example, when we put dash cams on our trucks, when we equip the salespeople that are in the truck with a handheld to register everything related to sales, and we combine all those data sources together with the information contained in our transactional systems, we can produce huge amount of very interesting output. So for me, the concept of the fleet of the future, of the logistics of the future, comes through sensorization, equipping the physical vehicles and the salespersons with technology, and generate data that we can use to produce significant insights on both the logistic and commercial areas to drive huge opportunities. For example, if we know how much time did we stop in a certain shop and what was the drop size that we sold in that shop, we can take good commercial decisions. I mean, if we're not selling but we are stopping a lot, we can say, okay, why don't we give them credit in order to buy us more? Why don't we refrain from stopping there so frequently, and reduce the frequency of visits? We do have tools, real-time tools, in order to change and transform the commercial and logistics approach. So this is going to be we're seeing now many of the big logistics guys that are present in the industry are starting equipping with telemetry systems all their trucks, and they're starting to apply machine learning techniques and using fleet management platforms in order to increase the productivity and reduce the operational cost of this. And it pays back enormously. I mean, we have studied, and in fact, we're studying right now this case, and the profit out of it, it's crazy, insane.
Interesting. Perfect. Yeah, you already showed a little bit what key development is going to impact. But Manuel Lopez made a specific question. He says, what technology now, right? Because you already said sensorization, dash cams, video, right? Tracking, GPS, specifically on this logistic part. But from an impact standpoint, and it doesn't necessarily need to be something that's already 100% developed, right? Because maybe there is something in the pipeline from a technology standpoint that you think is going to explode. But from a technology standpoint, and specifically, of course, manufacturing industry, right? Because we could talk biotech and we could talk pharma industry, but on manufacturing industry, what will have the biggest impact in your opinion?
I think two technologies. One, it's everything related with machine learning and artificial intelligence, for sure. I mean, to be able to get insightful opinions, suggestions, and understanding what happens in our shop floors, and translating that to operational and operable outputs. That's going to be tremendous. And the second thing is what first was called mixed reality. That's AR and VR, and nowadays is called space computing. Everything that brings together the physical and the digital worlds in the space, overlapping on the reality or making a different reality, a virtual reality. That's going to boom, as I think it's going to be the path to transform the manufacturing processes in a digital way. I mean, if we imagine a process, any given process, a changeover, for example. First, what we did in the past was, okay, let's send a TPS team and do a Kaizen and let's fix it. Okay, whoa, we did it. We improved 50% reduction in changeover, right? And we had an optimal process. But when we put that sequence in a 3D optimizer, in a 3D tool that really goes forward and iterates and creates a more optimized process, then we move forward, right? When we take that doubly optimated process into the virtual world, we can train and certify our operators to perform that changeover at their homes with minimal effort, and we have the possibility to understand about the training process, and we know which operators perform better, in which stage they stopped, what was the mean of the learning times, and we can take decision on the ability of our workers. And when we take that optimized process to the real world back again using AR glasses and enabling the operator perform the changeover, the optimized changeover in the sequence that they were trained in the virtual world, and they apply that in the physical world, there we are changing the way we improve processes. So if we understand that cycle, definitely we can produce a massive change using these spatial computing tools. So I think this is Manuel. I think this is going to have this machine learning, AI, and spatial computing are going to be the two more, let's say, booming areas in the close future.
And really, the process that you just described with going from a physical process to a digital process, and then doing the digital loop, right? Having somebody doing digital optimization, then bringing this back to the physical loop, that's really what it is, right? And that's really what Industry 4.0 is about. And I do agree that the impact that you just mentioned on operator training, since devices are getting cheaper, devices are getting better, people are getting more used to it. We have now experts at the plants. Actually, there is even some open source software that enables us to, even from free software that enables us to put the engineering data into some classes. Like, it's not that big of a deal, right? But the outcome is pretty huge. And on the artificial intelligence, for sure, people always think, and I think we have this paradigm that you need huge computers, right? You need to have these server rooms full of very complex hardware, but it's actually not true either, right? Depending on the code that you program, it can be run on a very simple device. And I always have the Raspberry Pi in mind, which is a $100 mini computer, and you can run really sophisticated Python code on that, right?
Let me say something on that, because it's very important. Yes, you do have the capability to run a pilot test with a laptop and a Raspberry Pi, prove that it works. But when you want to make it live in real time in the shop floor, definitely those are not the tools. I mean, you need a cloud to store as many data as you want. You need APIs in order to sustain your algorithms into your IT assets and architectures. And if you want to make it run and operate simultaneously in a broad environment, such as a whole manufacturing plant, you definitely need to have the big boy tools. You cannot go to the mountain with a wooden knife to kill the bear. You have to go with a bazooka, and that's different environments. And we are now in the purgatory of the pilots, because we are desperately trying to find cheaper solution of doing things. But when you try to scale them up, no way, Jose.
Interesting. Very good insight. Awesome. So now half hour has gone like this, and as always. So I do have one last question before we go into the Christmas break. Well deserved one for sure, and you as well. So if you now, and I know that if you now look at AI, machine learning, and virtual reality, mixed reality, augmented reality, I know that you have been very strong and you have trained yourself in this specific capacity. What is going to be the key skill that you're going to learn Q1 next year?
Wow, good question. I mean, I'm deeply interested in knowing more about the client side of the thing. I mean, I'm pretty conscious of the manufacturing side of the thing, but I want to move forward and to understand more about the B2B, B2C platforms, the direct to consumer models, the omni-channel experiences, and the technology related to that. For me, Q1, it's number one priority.
Nice. So nice.
Yeah.
It's not going to vessels will be a programming language or a 3D language tool, but there is some pretty sophisticated stuff on the CRM systems as well that you need to learn, right? How they work, how to program the dashboards there, and you're probably going to have some help as well. But very interesting. Yes, you're going to go 100% into human behavior, right, and consumer behavior. Right.
Yeah, because I think we in the manufacturing world, we are very product and process focused. No, we our focus is how to get that bloody product out of the plant in the most proficient way, in the most quickly way, in the most with the most quality. But we tend to forget about the client, and we serve products and we engineer products and we sell products, not necessarily taking into account the needs and wishes of our clients, both clients and consumers.
Sure.
And that is going to be a huge mind shift for manufacturing companies to move from product and services to more client-centric approaches. It's going to be the differentiator between the manufacturers that will survive and the manufacturers that will be just contract manufacturers forever.
Incredible. So I'm very thankful, Bruno. It is incredible that
likewise.
I can call you a friend. This is one of the biggest things 2021. Lots of friendship, deeper friendships, and for sure we will continue to walk this journey through the digital transformation. Yep. And I'm sure in 5 to 10 years we're going to look back and say, look at the Christmas edition that we did. That was really funny how we thought about AI and how we thought about how we didn't know anything about the customer. Really, we're just producing 700,000 pieces of metal per year. Thank you very much.
I think that in 2 years' time, our avatars will be talking to each other, and will be resting in the beach and controlling our plants from an iPad and saying, okay, seeing the digital twin of everything's going okay, I can be in the beach. Yeah, for me, it has been a pleasure to work with you this year and to put in this wonderful initiative on its foot. And I think that regardless, I wasn't able to join you during the mid side of the year. Very happy to have created this together. Feel like kind of a father or mother, I don't know what, together with you. But let's continue this in the future, and for sure let's bring whatever we can. I mean, we're not gurus, we're not geniuses. We're just normal people that love technology and manufacturing and how they combine together. And let's bring this personal view together to whomever is willing to listen to it. So thanks very much, Stefan. Have a good holiday. Take a rest, well-deserved rest, and let's meet again next year.
Yeah. So at the end, I really want to give people the opportunity as well. I think you're going to have some job openings next year, which is super exciting, right? Yeah. So now we're actually generating this platform to be able to also have people that are maybe finishing their career that have already 3 to 5 years experience and want to pivot into a company that's really going to go digital. So take the 2 minutes and give them a little bit of an outlook of what are you going to open and where is it located? How are you going to do it?
Okay, it's free advertising. I like it. Thank you very much. Well, in fact, yes, we're hiring. I mean, our company Xignux, it has performed very well during this year. I mean, it has been essential industry, both in the energy side and in the food side, in the consumer products side. So businesses have gone extremely well. The business is very profitable, and thanks God, we hope to continue this trend in the future. So in order to drive the required technology, digital transformation, we need people. We need people in many fields. We need people that can act as project managers, leading and being responsible of the development of digital transformation plan in a certain company of the group, and we have 5. We need people also that are have a deep expertise in some fields, such as industrial Internet of Things, and people to love that love OT, and that knows how to connect devices and communication protocols and everything linked to the shop floor operation, from PLCs to HMIs to networks. We need professionals in that field, and we need professionals also in the fields of spatial computing development. This is a technology we want to invest heavily in, and we're looking for people that can make a difference in those fields. And of course, we're completing our let's say workforce in the field of AI. We're also looking for leaders in the field of AI. We're also looking for data engineers and data scientists to join us. So there are many positions open. If any of you that are watching this live session wants to reach me, please feel free to do it. I'm in LinkedIn. Bruno Juanes. Juanes like the singer, like the La Camisa Negra, because in Mexico I'm Juarez most of the times. My poor father yells when say Juarez. No, it's Juanes. Okay, but Bruno Juanes in LinkedIn. Very happy to hear from you. Don't hesitate to connect and to send me your CVs, and hopefully we'll be working together next year.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Bruno.
Thanks I think to you for the window.
Right, that's very encouraging. I think the best thing after such a year that can happen is that we have now 7, 8 different jobs that get open, and you know that you're not going to hire a 10-year veteran, right? Because they don't exist. So you're going to have people that maybe have a year, 6 months, that even have recently started, right? So really, there is nothing bad about somebody that just currently started to try to get in there and be in a junior position and grow quickly.
Oh, in fact, what I'm trying to start together with our human capital peers in the company, we're about to launch a very interesting experimental program. I mean, we will start with just one experience of what we call reverse coaching. I mean, normally when you talk about coaching, you imagine a seasoned executive that coaches another highly experienced person and they talk about the business and all that thing. That's okay, that's coaching. But reverse coaching means that, let's say, a old school professional like you and me, I mean, we're baby boomers, can have the coaching of a youngster that is truly digital and that can teach them how the real 21st century world works and make them aware of the technologies, of the platforms, of the communication systems, of the tools, on the feelings, on how they buy things and how they interrelate to each other and they socialize. So I think it's going to be a tremendous, fruitful experience for the seasoned executive, as well as for the youngster that can share with a person that is not digitally native its insights about the world. So we are very happy and very excited about trying this, and hopefully we can come back in some point of the next year and talk about the experience. And if it goes well, let's scale it up.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That was awesome. Have a very nice Christmas. Say hello to your family, your boys, and for sure we will reconnect next year, Bruno. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Gracias a todos.
A great weekend.